Hello, this is Robert Lee Camp, and I'm here to introduce you to our latest software program, the Book of Destiny Reporter 6.0. This program will work on both PCs and Macs. The primary purpose for this program is to create reports that you can give to friends, family, or that you can sell to clients or customers. These programs is a one-time purchase. You don't have to pay a monthly fee. You can make unlimited reports using these software programs, and they should work for years to come, unless Windows comes out with a completely new version or Mac that doesn't work with the existing operating systems. So anyway, I'm going to go over some of the features of the program and give you a brief introduction. Now, some of you watching this have never used the software before, so I'm going to be talking about some of the basic features, and then we'll go into the new features that are not in the older versions of the program. I already talked about unlimited reports. This program, you can make the screen any size you want, and you can save it so that it stays that size. If you want it larger or if you want it smaller, you can do that with this program. Let's see if I can move it around a little bit here. And then we can just grab a corner and you can make it any size you want. And, whatever your screen, and then you can save it. I'm just going to go back to the original size here with the menu and see if I can get it right back in the hole there. Oh, look, it's a little bit different size. Interesting. I'm going to see if I can do something here. Oh, I know what I did. Yes. So see, you can play around with it and you can make it fit in any space you want. And you can save that if you want so that it always starts in that size. Okay. You can also change the colors of the screens. And this is like a gradient from a dark blue to a lighter blue. You can see you can have a solid color. You can have a gradient. You can have a linear gradient. You can really set it up the way you like it. Every screen of the program, every screen has an instructions button that plays a video that teaches you all about exactly how to use it in case you don't understand how to use the program. As you can see on this screen, this is a spread screen, but here's your significator screen for your client. And you have the birth card, you have the planetary ruler. The second planetary ruler in this case, because we're looking at a Scorpio's birthday, it's November 6th. And then we also have a decanate ruling card. And you see the karma cards also. And you can click on any one of these cards and you can get the meaning of them all. Okay? Including the Jack, Queen, and King. I don't usually use those, and I don't recommend that you use them, but some people like them, so I just left it in the program. And here we have the spreads, and you're looking at two spreads at the same time, which is very helpful. Now, in this case, this client has four spreads. It has planetary ruler with the birth card, and also decanate, and also second planetary ruling card. So you can switch the bottom one here to be any other spread so that you can see two spreads at once. It's very handy to have that, to have the two spreads at once and looking at it. We couldn't do more than that because it would be just a gigantic screen. Let's just say we could have done that, but it didn't make sense. Okay. And you can see that there's extra cards here. There's a yearly moon card. There's a yearly cosmic lesson, cosmic moon and transform self card, which is advanced material. But even these cards have some information about how to interpret them. And the yearly moon card as well. Oh, I'm sorry. That was a long range card. Here we go. The moon card. There we go. Every card you click on, you have an interpretation. You don't have interpretations for the underlying cards because they're just don't have interpretations. They're just people or additional information, which is really kind of explained in the Little Book of the Seven Thunders program. But, you have these spreads and you can explore people's spreads and so forth. You can look at 7-year, the life spread, the spiritual spread, the weekly spreads, the daily cards here. We can look at the 7-week spreads and look at those cards, and all of these have long-range Pluto results, environments, displacements, and so forth. And you can look at these And you can report on some of these. We can do a yearly report. We can do a weekly report also, and we can do a yearly relationship report. And then we have these other spreads. I'm going to talk about those in a minute, other reports you can do. You have a database of clients, and you can have an unlimited number of people in here. You can just go to town with as many clients. And you can add the decanate ruler to anybody. And we've included 2 articles with the program that teach you how to look up the decanate ruling card in case you don't know how to do that. The program can't do it by itself because that requires astrology, and this is not an astrological program. Let's see. If you have the 6.0 of the Reader Edition, or if you have the 6.0 Love Cards, this can actually use their databases. So if you already have a database established in the Reader Edition or the Love Cards program, you can just click on those buttons and it'll just automatically use those databases so that all your clients are in one place. Or if you want to have separate databases, you can have up to three different databases if you have all 3 of those programs. Okay. Now you can go ahead and behind. It always starts out on the current date for a person, current year, but you can go to any year of their life. You can go to any date here. You can go to any year, any date in the future or the past, and look at the cards for any spread that you want. I mean, very handy. You can go ahead as far as you want or behind as far as you want till the birth of the person or the entity you're reading for. Let's see here. More information. Yes, I got that. Interpretations. Now, for those who have these programs already, I should say that I've worked on a lot of the interpretations and I've updated a lot of the interpretations. And we have new information, new interpretations. We have 13-year cards. We have 7-year long-range cards interpretations. So there's some new stuff in here besides what you had. And I had to redo the entire reporting engine. So the reports look different now. They're different because I just had to start from scratch, and I just thought I improved on them a little bit. Maybe pretty much the same, though. They pretty much look the same. Okay. When you go into the yearly report, it includes now you can choose. You can unselect any of these things. There's 4 pages of instructions like before, and you can uncheck that if you don't want that to be printed. There's a title page. There's 13-year period cards for the birth card, like what 13-year cycle you're in right now. What's the card and what does it mean? And then whatever your current 7-year period is, what's the long-range card? And you also have the auspicious events, which we'll talk about in a minute. But all those are in this report. And you can see in this case, we have 4 basically cards that we can report on. You could do more if you want. You could do all of these. I don't recommend doing any of these. You can also do more than 1 year at a time. You can do like 2, 3. Okay, you can do as many years as you want. I can tell you that a 3-person report, like with 3 different significators, is going to be over 60 pages long. So this report here would probably be over 80 pages long with all these. I'm not going to run it because there's too many of them, but just to give you a quick idea, without these cards, extra cards, I'm going to make this report real quick just so you can see. It generates the report for you. Here we go. Now I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can fit more of it on the screen. So you can see this is a preview of the report. Okay. And you can print it out to a printer, or if you have a PDF printer like Adobe Acrobat, not the Reader though, because the Reader doesn't write PDFs. You can print this out to a PDF. You'll need a PDF writer if you want to print these out and email them to people. Okay. And there's some free ones, and there's some really good ones that are not that expensive. You can just Google it, you'll find them. But here's the instructions, 4 pages that teaches people how to use the report, get the most out of it. Then we're talking about the birth card and the ruling cards. She's got 3 rulers. She's got the planetary alternate ruler, which is a decanate, and the second planetary ruling card. And then we got the 13-year life spread period card that she's in now. Tells when it begins, when it ends. Then we have the section about the birth card. So this is doing, there's a whole section for each of the cards that you've selected here. We've only selected the birth card, so it's only going to be this one, but there will be multiple sections if you select these. There'll be like the one for the planetary ruler, one for the decanate, one for the second decanate, and so forth. So it tells you that. It tells you about the 7-year period card, when it begins and ends, what it is and what it means. And that's brand new interpretations, by the way. And then the cards that govern the entire year, an overview of those. And then each card separately and what it means. So it's very, very thorough, very, very professional report. Then the report goes through all of the planetary periods and gives you their interpretations of the 2 cards in each period, when they end to begin. And finally, if there's any auspicious events, it will tell you about that. So this person is in a wish-fulfilling year, which means they're in a Jupiter position in the grand solar spread. Let's have a look and see. 2021 year, that's where that'll be next year. That's what we ended up doing. And the Ace of Diamonds is displacing the 4 of Clubs. You can see right here. And anytime you displace the 4 of Clubs, any card in this center column, you get wishes fulfilled. So that brings us to the cycles and events, which are reported in the report, if there are any. It tells you if any of these are in effect for you in this current year. So in this particular person's ruling card, there are none. And in decanate ruler, there are none. And in the second planetary ruler, there's the ascent to the pinnacle year. So this tells you for every card of every person for any year of their life, like we can go back, let's say, to the current year. Interesting. This person doesn't have that many. I've seen people that have up to 6 or 7 events happening in one year. Now, if you ever want to see like the whole list of all the events, just click here. These are all the ones that are searched for. And if they're found, it will report on them. It'll tell you when you click on the card if they have any of those in this current year. Okay? There's a lot of new events that are not even in the Cards of Your Destiny book. There's events that I discovered later that are very significant that I wanted to make sure people were aware of. So you can decide whether you want those in the yearly report or not. That's the auspicious events. So you have a little bit of customization, but you can't avoid printing out the heart of the report, which is the report on all the cards and so forth. Okay? So that gives you a basic idea of that report. Then you have the linear spreads report, which prints out, like this is what I use to do a reading. You can do up to 3 cards at a time, and it looks like this. This is what I use when I do a reading for a client. I have these printed out for 3 years in advance, and this is what I refer to card-wise to know what's going on in their life. Okay? So very, very helpful if you do readings. Then we have the weekly calendar pages, which is just like a calendar, 1 page for each week. And you can do multiple weeks. You can do an entire year at one time, 52 pages. If you sell these, I suggest you charge at least $1 a page. I used to charge clients $52 for a year. But this is what they look like. Each week's page has all the cards for the week, the ones that influence the entire week and the ones that influence each day, direct and vertical. So you have a little snapshot of the week for the person and what's going on. These are the 3 cards that you've used to find the report, to search for in the report. Very helpful. Okay, then we have the Find Money Success Report. Now, this searches for, these are all reports that you can sell to people or give to people. So if somebody says, when do you expect I can make more money? Okay, so this will search, and you can have it, you set the year, the beginning date of the year you want to start, the birthday. And you decide how many years you want to search. Let's say we want to go 3 years starting this year. And this is for the money report. So now this is searched through all their spreads, including the underlying cards, and look for every position that might represent money. I'm sorry, it doesn't actually search underlying cards. This particular report doesn't do underlying cards, just the direct and vertical cards. And it tells you what card is found and what position it's in and what it means. Also gives a power rating, like how strong is that card. Very important. And then you can print this out and you can give this to a client. This is their Find Money report. Let me just, here we go. And you can see it has instructions for them how to read it exactly. And then here are the cards starting with the current date and going all the way through till the end date that you've chosen. All the cards that are found. Okay? And you can do the same thing with success. It looks for different cards for success, like 10 of clubs, 8 of clubs, king of spades. There's other ones too in different positions. It searches for all of those and you can print those out. Okay? All right. And then we finally have the yearly relationship report. So you can, let's say, pick a client here. Let's say that she has a boyfriend who's called the Leo guy. And you can see that he's not even appearing in her spreads. And here we go next year. And he's Mercury to her. The thing is, like, this guy only has one card. Because he's a Leo Jack of Hearts, he has no decanate ruler and he has no separate planetary ruling card. If we pick somebody else, like let's say me, you can see there's I have way more cards, so there's way more. The program found way more instances of my card. So this is really, really important for people. Like, they're wondering, is this person going to be around in my life in the future, or are they going to come into my life in the future? I've found this to be extremely accurate. In my own personal life, and I'm sure that you will find it too if you check it out. So now you can print this out, and it gives like a whole page for each of the connections, because each connection that it finds it has quite a long interpretation. So here we go. It's looking, here's the instructions basically, and then you go into the connections one at a time, starting with the first ones, and then it gradually goes into underlying cards. After, like in this case, after the fourth connection, all the connections are underlying cards. And it tells you here they're from underlying cards. They're not as strong. So this does use underlying cards, because those can be significant in relationships. So this was a total of 18 connections that were found in a 2-year period, or no, in a 1-year period. That's a lot. Usually it's more like 5 to 6 or 7 or 8 connections. So you have this also as an additional report that you can give or sell to people. It's very helpful, especially like if somebody's broken up with somebody and they want to know if they're going to come back into their life, which is a very common question that I get from clients. So that's pretty much a good overview of all the different features of the program. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy having the program. This is the first one we've ever had that works on PCs and Macs, and it's all updated and all brand new. Have a great day.